All right. This is my presentation about the dystopias in Saga. First of all, the different elements of dystopia. First of all, there needs to be some sort of government control or no government at all. Secondly, um, it needs to exist in either a post-apocalyptic world or a world that has been changed significantly. Everyone is forced to be as similar as possible, so a lack of individualism, and there needs to be somebody fighting the status quo. There needs to be a need for survival, and there needs to be technological. So the different elements of dystopia um, presented in Saga are the government control. This is seen through the way that the government controls the people and forces them to think a certain way, such as Marco and Alana's relationship being taboo, um, and forcing like Alana's people to think that Marco's people are savages, and then Marco's people being forced to think of Alana's people as savages as well. Um, so the story does take place in a world that has been significantly changed. Um, and an example of the world that has been significantly changed is the forest that's being cut down due to the war. Other examples of it are the prison camps and other stuff like that. And so an example of um, a lack of individualism, again, is just that all people are expected to act on their side of the war. So Alana's supposed to be on her side, and Marco's supposed to be on his side. But when the two of them come together, they break that and are forced to break the status quo. Another example of the lack of individualism is even the will is expected to act a certain way, and anybody who doesn't act in their um, for their people is either imprisoned or um, killed. And so Alana and Marco fall in love, and even though that their cultures are supposed to hate each other, and Hazel is a symbol of that, and them falling in love breaks the status quo because they're supposed to hate each other, and so Hazel is a symbol of breaking the status quo. The main goal of everybody is to survive, just in general. Everybody that's part of the war, that's not part of the war, just in general, everyone is just trying to survive. And the reason that this is because they don't want to go against their government. They want to just get by. However, Marco and Alana, their goal is to keep Hazel alive. Their goal um, is for Hazel to survive. They're not as worried about themselves as much as they are Hazel, but there is still that sense of survival in wanting Hazel to survive. And the royal family shown in um, the novel is computers. This is showing kind of a mix of government control and technological control over the people. So the intended audience are those who can relate with Alana and Marco, wanting to stay out of the war, wanting to just live their lives, um, and wanting to do something that's different from society without being shunned from society. And then it's primarily focused towards young adults because young adults are primarily the ones that will relate to this the best. So the critiques in society that are shown um, in Saga are there's racism being shown between the separation of cultures. Cultures are seen as barbaric; they shouldn't mate, and they're fighting because of the differences. So they're seen as barbaric, even between Alana and Marco. Marco seeing the bleeding of the wings as barbaric, and even though Alana sees it as a traditional thing, there's that separation of cultures, and then that causes a form of racism between the two. The fact that they shouldn't mate, that's pretty self-explanatory. And then fighting because of the differences is also pretty general. And so also the gender roles between Alana and Marco are switched in this. Um, Marco is more of a pacifist. He doesn't want to fight, um, doesn't want to kill even when he does fight, as seen in the picture presented. And then Alana is more of the protective role, willing to do what it takes to protect Hazel, to protect her family. Um, and here's my works cited.